Chicka, 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 chicka. It's not son, baby. Yeah, a one time, baby. What? For your mind, baby. Yeah, we gon' shine, baby. And what we do, we gon' grind, baby. Yeah, what? And this is another episode, so of Swingers After Dark. And this is your host, not son, baby. Here we go. What's good, family? What's good? You know, the most dangerous person is not a person with a gun. It's not a person with a tank. It's not a person with a knife. And it's not necessarily a person who could take your life. It's somebody with a fucking camera and a microphone and a smartphone that could record. You feel me? And I say that to say, you know, nowadays people are guilty in a court of law. You know, you're guilty until proven innocent, not innocent until proven guilty. You feel me? Because people nowadays, they don't do their own investigation. And people are sheep. So if one person says, okay, you did this, everybody going to automatically believe that person just cause. Because people going to be like, well, why would that person lie about you? What does that person has to gain? You feel me? And it's like, you know, people will believe in and everything. And I'm like, you know, only believe half of what you read it's like, don't believe everything you read and only half of what you see. You understand me? Because people have their own agenda of why they want to put you on blast or why they want to expose you, quote unquote. Because we're living in an era of people exposing others, whether maliciously or they just being petty or they just clout chasing. Meaning they just putting something out there for attention. And how you should handle gossip, innuendos, and rumors about you is simple. Just straight up ignore them. You feel me? It's like a lot of times you just got to make people bark at the moon by not responding to their fuckery. If you respond to it, you give whatever is said about you credibility. You give it credence. Just ignore it. And then it's going to go away and people going to forget about it until the next news cycle. You understand me? And, you know, you might say, well, not son, if you don't say anything, does that mean you're guilty? No, man. That just means you don't give a fuck about what people think or say about you. And if people want to think bad about you, then they really didn't fuck with you to begin with. They really didn't like you to begin with. You know? And it's like, you know, we're living like everybody want to put each other on blast. We're living in an era of the expose. You know, people want to get their TMZ on. People want to get their, you know, current affair on. People want to get their National Enquirer on. Like everybody's a fucking tabloid. It's like you can't do anything. This is not like the 60s, 70s, or 80s, or even the 90s when you could do things on the low. Like you can't do things on the low anymore. Like people are waiting for you to slip up. And it would be, you know, these so-called friends. Yes, these so-called friends of yours, they would get in your life just to take data to use it against you. Everything you say and or do will be used against you. You feel me? And you got to take that into account where a lot of people, you know, they love to infiltrate. And that's why, you know, friendship, you know, it's an action word. It's not a noun, or it's not something that you find yourself in. You feel me? People got to show and prove. And, you know, I realized over the years that just because somebody is in my circle, that doesn't mean that they're in my corner. And I had to, you know, distinguish the two. Just because somebody's in my circle, that doesn't mean that they're cheering for me. They're clapping for me. They're giving me a round of applause when they see me accomplish my goals, when they see my achievements. You know? And it's like you have people who really don't have your best interests at heart. They would rather see you fail, pretending that they give a fuck about you. And you know how you should deal with gossip, just let people bark at the moon. It's like, just ignore it. You know? Go through one ear and out the other. However, on the flip side of that, there's going to be a time where you're going to have to vindicate yourself. You're going to have to speak up for yourself, especially when like the gossip is like heinous when it's some off the wall shit that could possibly get you locked up. You know, you facing prison years and jail time. You're going to have to speak up for yourself, especially when it's something that you know you did not do. You feel me? And that's the only time that you should address the gossip and the rumors. If your freedom is on the line and you know for a fact, 100%, that you did not do anything that you're accused of doing. Or, like, you may ignore it at first, but the gossip, it has legs. It has traction. It has legs to walk and run on. To the point where you have no choice but to, you know, address the audience, address the crowd, to tell everybody that what is said about you is bullshit. You know? So on one end, you don't have to care about the gossip and the rumors and the innuendos and the slander, you know, about you. But at the same time, if it keeps going on and on and on and on, people are gonna think, okay, where there's smoke, there's fire. You feel me? If something goes on and on and on, people gonna say, shit, it may be true after all. You feel me? So it's up to you. It's up to you, you know, whether you value, you know, your image or the perception about you, or whatever the case may be. You know, it's all on you. But I would say this, you know, how to deal with gossip and rumors, for the most part, unless, you know, it's criminal, just ignore it. You know, just ignore it. Let people shadow box. You feel me? Let people shadow box, because when you give something attention, you know, it's like putting gasoline on a fire, and it becomes fire to a 4-alarm blaze, to a forest fire that you can't even put out. You're giving somebody attention that they don't really need. They just clout chasing. And then you give them attention, and then people are going to think it's true because you're giving it attention. So it's the flip side of that. If you ignore something, people may think that it's true. But if you give it attention, if you go hard, people are going to think that's, you know, whatever said about you is true as well. So it's about modification. And, you know, how you should, you know, decide whether you should respond is A, how serious the allegation or the rumor is. B, the person who's saying it. Or C, the publicity of the gossip. The publicity of the gossip. You know, whether, you know, does this, you know, rumor has legs to stand on? You know? Like, do a lot of people know about this? Who's saying this? Does this person who's saying all this fucked up shit about you got credibility to begin with? You know? But if you really know a person who's talking shit about you, they not shit themselves, then it's like, you know, it's water under the bridge. You feel me? And, you know, gossip and rumors about you, it's like a rash. If you keep scratching it, it's going to get worse. And it's going to spread. You know, it's going to spread throughout the whole body. And the next thing you know, you itching all over. You're itching all over. Like you scratching yourself to death. You know, you itching all over. You got that itch that you feel like it needs to be scratched. But, you know, sometimes it's all about, you know, what you think is worthy. You know, what you think is worth your time. And it's crazy that, you know, we're living in an era where people will believe anything. People believe any and everything because people are spoon-fed information. People don't want to do their due diligence to figure out whether something is true or false. They just take things for face value. People nowadays, they want to be spoon-fed their information. And that's why I say somebody with a microphone and a recorder and a smartphone that got a camera or a laptop or computer, they're dangerous because people can say anything about you and people going to believe it. It's like that's dangerous, especially when you're a public figure. It's like this is not a good time to be a celebrity. You know, even if you got your hands clean, people will find something to get on you about. You know, even if they try to twist your words, you're misconstrued. And because they either don't want to understand you or they misunderstood you, they're going to put you on blast anyway. Even if they took whatever you said out of context. It's like people are so thirsty for attention that instead of creating their own content, or instead of talking about themselves, or instead of, bringing forth knowledge that doesn't have to do with another person, they would rather drag you down. Because there's nothing miserable than a person who's not getting attention. The Walking Dead. So they want you to die breathing. Because everybody ostracized you. Everybody don't want to fuck with you. Because what's said about you, secondhand information. And people not going to ask whether it's true. They're not going to come up to you and figure out whatever said about you is true. They're going to take everything for face value, word for word. And like I said, we're living in an era of expose, information, the age of Aquarius. Everything is revealed in the age of Aquarius. That's the society we're in now, So to rewind this podcast, the only time you should address rumors, gossip about you, if it has legs to stand on and run. If it's just crawling, don't give a fuck. But if this gossip, rumors, whatever the case may be, is gaining traction and it has the ability to destroy you, then you have to speak up. But if it's just some lame motherfucker talking shit about you, then don't even give light to it. Just ignore it. If it's some weak gossip and nobody cares about it and it's going to go away like the next week, then just let it, die on its own. Just let it die on its own, because when you shed light on, just idle chatter, then you give it relevance, and people gonna, you going so hard to dispel the rumors about you to where people think that it's true. But if you ignore it, people gonna forget about it. And people nowadays, they got the attention span of a goldfish. You feel me? It's like there's so much stuff that's going on in the world that it's easy for people to forget. But if the gossip, if it's going on and on and on and on, you're not going to have a choice but to speak on it and to vindicate yourself. You feel me? And that's the world we're in, man. That's the world we're in. And it's all about, adapting and adjusting. Because if you don't adapt and adjust to the society where you're living in, then you're just going to fade off like a dinosaur. You're going to become extinct to the point where you're paranoid and you don't know how to handle certain situations. And you become stressful. You're becoming stressed out and depressed because everybody is coming after you instead of you facing the problem heads on, because you're not used to that and you don't know what to do. But if you did not do anything that they accusing you of doing, then you have nothing to worry about. And that's power. You have nothing to worry about. If whatever people are saying is true, but or false rather, whether it's true or false, people don't know whether it's true or false. But it's kind of a slippery slope. But if whatever they saying is true, then you better get your lawyer on. You better lawyer yourself out of the situation. You better talk yourself out of the situation and spin it to the point where people are going to be like, damn, that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? You better do your best lawyer impersonation. You feel me? To the point where people believe you, even if what you're saying is full of shit, lies. But for the most part, people, don't give a fuck about the gossip. That's how you handle it. And a lot of people are bold enough, they don't really give a fuck. They'll tell you, yeah, I did that. Or they'll say, whatever you hear about me is true. Believe that shit. Whatever fucked up shit, foul shit, or gossip you heard about me, believe that shit. Like, you have people who are on that time who carry rumors like that. Those are the people who don't give a damn about what's said about them. All right, family. On that note, this has been another episode of Swingers After Dark, and this is your host, Not Son, baby. Check out my website at www.notsonblaze.com. That's www.nahsunblaze.com. And check out my ebook, You, Me, Us, Them, The Swinger Manifesto. It's on Nook, Kindle, iBooks, Google Play. Go get it. Shoot me an email at swingpodcast@gmail.com. That's swingpodcast@gmail.com. Hit me up with any questions or concerns that you may have. Rate, share, subscribe, and comment on this podcast. Dig. And on that note, until next time, peace.